fake, pretty real, very real. Let's find out which one makes the best blueberry mead. Hey, this is Man-Made Mead. I am here to test these 3 different blueberry flavorings to see which one provides the best blueberry flavor. I have a natural blueberry flavoring from Brewers Best. This thing is more fake in my opinion. It is not exactly all it says all natural. In my experience, these have not proved to have a really great fruit flavor. But we're going to put this to the test because we're facing it up against an Amoretti blueberry flavoring. This stuff is way more real. This is actual blueberries kind of condensed down and then put into a flavoring, and it is more real than this Brewer's Best. So we're facing that against the real thing. I have taken 2 pounds of blueberries. I have basically made them into a puree of sorts, and the reason I'm using these 3 different things is because I want to find out which one creates the best blueberry mead. If a fake flavoring can make a better, something better than a real flavoring. And my goal is to put this to the test and do this kind of in a blind fashion to see if I can figure out which one is the real one. But we're going to find out. At the very end, you'll see that. So here's what I've done. I've created 3 gallons of mead. You can see them here. So let's go ahead and get started. Super simple. I will be using the Lalvin EC1118, and I will mix that in here in a second. We're not going to rehydrate it. We're not going to provide these things with any nutrients or anything like that. So just getting rid of that. I'm going to go ahead and get started with this. Unfortunately, due to volume, this natural blueberry is not going to fit into this gallon glass carboy. And I wanted to make sure that these are all even and they have the same amount of mead in them. So I'm going to go ahead and pour this into my sanitized gallon here. Now, we're going to take and put our blueberries straight in there. There we go. I put my blueberries in. I'll stir that here in a second. We're going to take 1.4 ounces, using my scale, of Amoretti flavoring of this blueberry flavoring and put that in. We got 1.4 ounces of blueberry flavoring, and now we're going to put 1 ounce of the blueberry flavoring from Brewer's Best. All right, and now we're going to take, after we put that flavoring in, we're going to take about 1.5 grams of Lalvin EC1118, which is a great yeast for all mead making, but also specifically darker fruits and berries like this. And we're going to put 1.5 ounces in of each one, so I'm going to put 1.5 ounces of this into each one of these. Okay, we finished making them. Let me tell you a couple important things. I said we're using that EC1118 yeast because it's good with lots of meads in general. More specifically, it is also good with blueberries, dark berries, those things. It is also just a mead that chews through a lot of these sugars. This thing will definitely ferment out from 1.0, which I never said before, but 1.054 gravity down to 1.000 because of the yeast. Now, it's a light mead. That thing sits around 7%. Again, I'm honestly really excited about it because any of these are going to be good. So a couple things for me to predict before this goes too far. I think that this one with the real blueberries is obviously going to have more sediment because we put real blueberries in. It takes up some more space, hence why we moved it out of this container. And I do think it's going to provide a nice blueberry flavor. In my experience, the real blueberries have actually had a more tart side of it than the fake flavoring that I've used in times past. So we're facing these 3 up against each other. I'm not going to put any yeast nutrient energizer in, just going to let them go. I could have rehydrated my yeast. I didn't want to. Honestly, I just wanted to throw them in, and I think they will be just fine. So from here, we're going to let these go completely through the fermentation. Not really going to log anything about the fermentations unless something crazy happens, and you'll see. But we're going to come back and we're going to find out after the primary, after these have finished, which one in that state has the best blueberry flavor retention. So let's go ahead and see what that's like. Here we are at the final test to see which blueberry flavoring works the best. I have all 3 of them here. They've all finished fermenting. I racked them over. I didn't record that. Sorry, wasn't that interesting. But here we have all 3 of them. The reason we're doing this test in this way is because we want to find out, of course, which one tastes the best. And I want to do it differently. So we're going to be blindfolded, and I have a little bit of help here today with this because obviously blindfolded adds some different things. So I'm going to jump right into it, and you're going to get not only my opinion, but another opinion on this. So let me try these blindfolded. I won't be able to see what they are. Obviously there's a different color difference between them, and that's the main reason we're blindfolding, is because I would obviously know that that's the Brewer's Best. Here's the test, or blindfolded test. Okay, now I don't know where they are. This is gonna be fun. Let's see. Oh, there we are. Okay, here we are. We're gonna go middle first. Here we are. Okay, smelling it, trying to make sure this stays down. Smelling it, it definitely has a blueberry smell, but it doesn't feel sweet. It's kind of thin. This one captures a little bit of the sweetness from the blueberry. There's a little tart as well. It feels thin to me, which is interesting. I think the real blueberries impart a little bit more flavor. Okay, I think, this is hard. I'm gonna go back in a moment and I'll try and fix my answers, but I think this is the Brewer's Best version. Maybe, I could be wrong. It tells me what I know. Here's the right, whatever this one is. Oh, this one doesn't smell like blueberry at all. I could have been wrong. Ooh, that's disappointing. I think I'm wrong. I think this one's the Brewer's Best because this middle one had more sweetness. I think this is possibly the Amoretti. Yeah, this one's really tart. It doesn't capture like a real blueberry flavor, unfortunately. But it's hard to say for sure. Yeah, I don't, maybe. Okay, last one, let's find out. This one smells more like real blueberries. This one has a sweeter side. There's a little bit of tart, but it's more sweet. It feels like a rounded character of a blueberry. I think this is real blueberry. I think this right here, this is the Amoretti. I think this is the Brewer's Best. In my opinion, the winner of this, because it has a greater characterization of the blueberry, is this real blueberry taste. So let's see if I'm right. I could be wrong. Oh man, that's surprising. Okay, y'all. I'm a little shocked. There's a reason I did this blind. It's because I did not want to have any partial opinion. This kept more honey character, which is really nice, and it has the blueberry flavor. Surprisingly, real blueberry, it has the berry character, but the honey pops less. This was my favorite. This is my least favorite. This Brewer's Best, well, hold on. Okay, so yeah, this is the Brewer's Best. The Amoretti actually did a pretty good job of capturing this flavor. Now there's a difference in clarity. You can see, kind of. The Amoretti did a good job, and it's a little less clear, but that's okay. That's kind of disappointing. The real blueberry was very not full tasting. It didn't really capture that full blueberry. But this is not just my opinion. Let's get my friend Chris here to help me give his opinion. So he's going to do the same thing, and he's going to find out, or he's going to guess which one's which. Okay, here we go. Go for it, Chris. Let's see what you prefer. They're all right in front of you.
I'm going to start out with the one in the middle. Okay, here we go. Okay. All right. I'm not really getting much of any honey character or blueberry character out of this one as far as smell goes. Either that or it's really faint. But it does have that. It does have some pretty good honey characteristics in the taste, as well as blueberry. It's kind of round. Not super pronounced, but it's pretty faint. All right, I'm gonna go to the right here. Hopefully I don't knock anything over. Okay. This one smells interesting. It's got more of like a flowery, aromatic quality to it. This one's fairly tart. And at the same time, I get the feeling that it's pretty decent ABV as well. This one has a more mild aftertaste. It's kind of a little bit flat, in my opinion. On the right way? Okay, thanks. Okay, this one has the most blueberry right off the bat. I can smell it from here. Oh yeah, all over the place. It's very full. I'm guessing the ABV is above 8 or 9% on this one, and the aftertaste is pretty full as well. Not nearly as thin as the one on the right, though.
So which one do you like the best?
Honestly, the one on the far left. Far left.
Okay, knowing what you know, there's three options. There's a real blueberry, there's a Amoretti flavor, which is pretty much real blueberries as well, but they're like condensed, and then there's a Brewer's Best, which is like a more liquid form of the blueberry.
Oh, like a puree kind of thing?
Not necessarily puree. It's more of like just a flavoring in general.
Okay.
What do you think is what?
I think the center is the Brewer's Best. The right is the Amoretti, and then the one on the left is the real blueberry.
Okay, go ahead and take it off. So this was...
Oh wow, and I'm very wrong.
This was the Brewer's Best. This was the Amoretti, the middle one. The real blueberry was the one that you said was the most tart.
Yeah, definitely had me fooled. It's really interesting.
This one is surprisingly...
It's surprisingly good.
Yeah.
I liked that one the most, for sure.
It's very interesting.
It's very, yeah.
Yeah.
Good experiment.
All right, you heard it here first, y'all. This was a very surprising experiment. I started off this whole thing by saying this Brewer's Best stuff is not as strong, not as great tasting, and in truth, both Chris and I, we agreed this Brewer's Best, which was this one on both sides, ended up being the one we preferred more. And I was a little disappointed in some ways that this blueberry side, the real blueberries, maybe it's because the yeast ate the sugars more so in this case, but they made the whole thing really tart. Not really enjoyable in my opinion. So unfortunately, I'm not the biggest fan of using real blueberries in this case. If I were to take and back sweeten this thing, I believe that the real blueberry could be better because it does have good characteristics. You still get the honey, you still get the characteristics of mead. It's just very dry and kind of almost not necessarily sour, but you get a sour side. The Amoretti was probably second place in my opinion. It did a good job of encapsulating the blueberry flavor as well as keeping some mead-esque flavors of honey and the warmth, the floral taste, the earthy side of this honey. We had used, of course, orange blossom honey. So the Amoretti did pretty well. It was pretty close in my opinion. But the surprising thing was this Brewer's Best. This thing actually kept the honey character and did a good job with that. It also, the blueberry flavor just was a little stronger. Now, here's my hypothesis. This is kind of like hypothesis time. This blueberry flavor right here does not have any sugar in it, which means that whenever this was fermenting, it was keeping just the blueberry flavor inside of the mead, leaving us with a traditional mead that just so happened to taste like blueberry. In the same kind of light, the Amoretti flavor has sugars, of course, that the yeast can Yeah, the yeast can ferment on. However, I don't believe all of those sugars were fermented on, and so therefore we were left with more blueberry flavor. These were, again, really close. This thing, I think because it doesn't have any sugars in it for the yeast, actually imparted better flavor. In the long run, do I believe that all Brewer's Best flavors are going to be superior to these other options? No, by no means. This is pretty exclusive to blueberries, and I want to make sure and say that. If you're watching this going, man, he says I should never use Amoretti or never use real fruit. That's not true. This is exclusive in this case. So, you heard it here first. This has been another man-made mead test. I want to say thank you to Chris. Thank you for you guys watching and spending your time doing this. I have really enjoyed doing this. I plan on doing this more with other flavors because I have a bunch of flavor options, and I want to give you the best information I possibly can. Go check out Brewer's Best. They've done a great job with this. I've used them before with other stuff. Pretty blown away with this mead. So, these will continue to age, and then I will bottle them. I'll probably need to do a little TLC on the real blueberry version to get it to where I want it to be. The Amoretti version is pretty close. The Brewer's Best is pretty on point as it is. Are they perfect? No. Are they pretty good? Yeah. Thank you guys again for watching. Make sure you hit like and subscribe. Thank you for spending the time to watch this whole video. I hope to see you guys in another video in the future. And of course with that, cheers.